Hey, you want to see something really scary?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Welcome to Fright Night.
Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Shad.
This week, we watched Night of the Reaper.
This showed up on my porch this morning addressed to you.
Night of the Reaper.
It's so great to see you back in town.
I really appreciate you helping out tonight.
Hey, Max.
Hello, Dina.
Let's play hide and seek.
Are you downstairs? Are you in the dining room?
Hey, Max. Are you outside?
They're showing us this for a reason. There's a clue somewhere.
What's this?
That's the basement. We don't go down there anymore.
Now it's freaking me out.
Max?
Yeah, that place can give me the creeps.
Kiddo? Are you messing with me?
None of this is a coincidence, Butch. Not today.
Willis, what did you do?
Night of the Reaper, huh? Kinda catchy.
Shudder exclusive. This is Brandon Christensen's 5th film, and we had the pleasure of meeting him for his 2nd film, Z, during the Popcorn Frights Film Festival.
Yep.
Back in 2019,
Yeah.
I believe, before the world turned.
Yeah, one of the last normal years.
Yep. And I, we follow Brandon on social media, on Instagram, and we've seen the, him editing it and the process and,
Yep.
throughout this whole thing. So we've been really excited to see. The last film we covered of his was the Puppet Man.
Which we liked a lot.
Yes, we did.
I think we've liked all of his.
Yes. And
Z still has the amazing jump scare in it, though. Where it's just if you see it, you'll know it. But yeah, it's got a great one in there.
Love Z. And here we are with Night of the Reaper. Right off the bat, do you see the trailer? And many of us that watch films, whether for, I'm going to say this for a living, because we don't get paid, but for pleasure, for a living, whatever, we see, another 80s movie, right? However, I'm all about the 80s movies. And from the trailer caught me. I was like, I'm in. So we have Brandon Christensen directing. He co-wrote this with his brother, Ryan Christensen.
And his son's actually in this one, too.
Max.
We got Max Christensen in this one, making an appearance as the one of the kids that's being babysat in here.
Who's also named Max, because let's just keep it easy. Let's just not make it more difficult and confuse the child.
Yeah, let's make it easy on him. Just Max, you're Max in this movie.
We have...
To be fair, Jack Nicholson does that too. How many movies has he been Jack in?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, he's been in
That's
a lot.
because he's like, I'm just being me.
Yeah, he's like, I don't really want to learn another character's name, so just change his name to Jack.
He was in Wolf. He was like, this is just me on the weekend. Yeah. I'm just wolfing around.
He's Jack Torrance. He's Jack in Batman. He's just Jack.
Now, we have Summer H. Howell, who plays Emily in the film. We will be seeing her later on. She is going to be the new Carrie in Mike Flanagan's Amazon Prime
series. It's like 8 episodes about Carrie.
Yeah.
It's funny because that's one of King's smallest books.
And that's the one everyone wants to see.
Yeah.
We have Jessica Clement playing Dina. Ryan Robbins playing Sheriff Rodney Arnold. Matty Finocchi as Officer Butch Cassidy.
He's been in a few things. You would recognize him. I've seen him in some things here and there. He was in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. He was in Riverdale. He's in all those kind of things like that. And most recently, he was in something else. What was it? I was trying to remember. I know he's been in the new Charmed show. He's been in quite a few things. But yeah, I recognized him right away. He's one of those character actors that when you see his face, you're like, oh, it's that guy.
Now, if you haven't watched the trailer and you have no idea what this movie's about, and maybe you just saw the amazing poster, which I do love the poster for the film. It's a college student, Dina, who's coming back home. She's visiting home, and she kind of gets sucked into babysitting. And the local sheriff is being mailed pieces of evidence that lead to a scavenger hunt, and that's where the movie takes you.
Yeah. Because much like, Psycho and Scream, this is not really spoiling anything on this because you're 5 minutes into the movie, you're going to figure this out. The first babysitter you see is not going to be the one we're following through the rest of the movie.
Okay, that was a spoiler.
But still, it's not going to be long before you figure that one out. When you start the movie, you're like, oh, we're not going to be following this girl for very long. So
yes,
yeah.
It's in true classic Psycho fashion, which later on
became Scream,
redone by Scream. So I'm not going to give Scream, because many articles that you will read in places here and there and people's comments are going to be like, oh, it's so Scream. Wrong. It's not Scream. It's Psycho. Know your film history. So anywho, yes.
So that, and I always like those kind of things because at first you are like, oh, okay, this is what we're going to be, because you think, you get suckered in. You're like, oh, this is what we're going to be doing. Then, like I said, pretty quick, I was like, oh, no, we're not going to be following this girl. But I like that, and that's the clues that the sheriff is receiving are regarding that incident that happens at the beginning.
Before she goes out, though, I have to say that she does do an amazing performance dancing to Pat Benatar's Heartbreaker, which I feel like, obviously, the title of the song, Heartbreaker, is like, oh, as you, between her murder and then later on what pans out, fits just the title of the song. But it was an interesting choice. I love me a Canadian film, either directed, written, filmed, shot at in Canada. I love Canada, and I love my favorite horror films actually are all from Canada. My favorite ones are all Canadian films for the most part. So I have to say, in saying that, slash 80s films, as I said before. Now, you have so many people try to do like, oh, we're going to do an 80s film, or we're going to do a 90s film. They get it wrong. They get it wrong between the music and the look of it. It's just too much. It's either too exaggerated, it doesn't look right, it looks more this decade. This movie, hands down, looks down to the wood freaking paneling, okay?
Yeah, that's how you know it's authentic when you go to the house in the 80s and they got the wood paneling and they've got that like that burnt orange looking carpet.
Yes.
Or the burnt orange sofa, one of those things like that. When you have that in the house, you're like, oh, okay, they went and redid this like the 80s. That's great.
Now,
because everybody had one or both of those things in your house.
They sure did. Now,
the sofa just blended right into the carpet. You couldn't even see where to sit down.
Now, at some point in the film, it is during some time in October, because the movie's not the story is not set on Halloween. Now, for many reasons why you wouldn't want to do that. You want to do another Halloween movie where someone's getting murdered, But it is. I love the Halloween decorations. You did a bang up job. Whoever chose the decorations, classic. Okay, even if there were reproductions, they all looked very good, especially the honeycombed spider, okay? I know that people are going to be like, what's wrong with this woman? But I love, collect, when I can, Halloween decor, vintage Halloween decor. So when I see it in the film, I'm just like all about the look of it. So great job. And it's very subtle. I want to see it was on Halloween, but that's neither here or there to the story, only because the where do you want to call her, the receptionist or whatever at the sheriff's station, she's wearing like a devil headband the whole time.
Yeah. So it's on or around Halloween. Close enough.
But I have to say her sweater, I don't know where that sweater's from. I'm going to have to send an IM to Brandon and be like, where did the sweater come from? Because I loved her sweater. But everyone just did a great job. The acting, hands down. The actress that played Dina, she's very emotive. She has very big eyes. So in a good way, very emotive eyes. So a lot of the story you can definitely take with her.
Yeah, and I love you talk about a lot of the 80s movies, they try to overdo it with stuff. One of the things they try to overdo in a lot of the 80s movies is the 80s soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
They try to play 500 80s songs to remind you it's the 1980s. They didn't do that here, and I appreciate that. Just one or two songs here and there can set the mood. You don't need to, every time someone opens a door, they don't need to play a new 80s song.
And you know what's crazy? Obviously, the way the film that they used and like the coloring and all that, it just looks so classic, but the people look authentic, which is crazy because obviously they're not fake people, but all the people just looked, I don't want to say normal, but do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they looked like they were a part of that time. They didn't look like they were trying to be that time. And now that may mean nothing to a lot of people when it comes to a movie, but I'm dissecting every single little thing, especially when you are setting it during a certain time frame, especially in a time frame where I may or may not have been alive.
And I was definitely alive. So I'm not even going to try and hide that. I was alive during the 80s. And I like you said the attention to detail is good. I appreciate him like going into the stores that you see some of the stuff. Now there's a couple of little Easter eggs in here.
Yes,
that you
there
see
is.
Like when you see in the video store, there's a Superhost movie. I didn't know that movie was available for rental in the 80s, but
I'm dead.
I guess it was. So I'm just going to go with that.
What? No, that wasn't the house stacked up on the VHSs.
But there's also I think there's also, you see in the video store, there might be a Superhost in there too.
Well, of course, because you rented all the movies when you had the people over.
Yeah, so you got to have all the stuff ready.
It's stacked up. And then later on, the realtor's putting out the Christensen
realty sign. There, yeah.
Classic. Yeah. We saw what you did.
We saw what happened there.
I can't express enough. I was waiting for, there are certain scenes in Z where, like you said, there's a jump scare, but just the way that he follows either the character or, you know, the way that it's shot, it just adds like so much tension. And I was like holding my breath. Also, I was pissed off a lot of times in the film because I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You're making a stupid mistake. Like, why are you doing that? I was so mad. Like, every time, you know, Dina would not, she should have been calling the police, but she wasn't. But of course, if everyone did what you wanted them to do in the movie, then we wouldn't have a movie to watch. And I say that so often, but it's just one of those things that irks me. Like when the characters just blatantly not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing the complete opposite.
Now, this one also premiered at Popcorn Frights this year. We didn't get to go, but this one did get voted as the scariest feature at Popcorn Frights.
Congratulations.
And well deserved. Now, we've kind of talked about this in a little bit of general terms, but we want to talk about some of the more specific things in the movie now. So, if you haven't watched the movie, go watch it, come back in a few minutes, hour and a half, however long it takes, and listen to this part of the podcast because we don't want to ruin anything for you. So go over, fire up Shudder, get it going, watch the movie. We'll see you back here in a minute, and we'll be ready to talk about some points of it that might spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. So here we go. All right, you enjoyed the film? So did we. So let's talk about some spoiler things. Now, the first, I'm going to follow up on something you said, because you were like, oh my God, she kept making such two stupid mistakes. Was she, though?
Okay. Well, before we get into that, nope, we gotta put a pin on that. We can't just spoiler alert the whole thing right off the bat when we just started this portion of the podcast. We're gonna say that just like in the film, The Sixth Sense, the other S movie. When you watch it back, or when you think about it back, you're like, oh, here.
Yeah.
There are things that happen throughout the film that at the time, they seem normal for what's happening, and you understand. Like, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then later on, you go back and you're like, oh, yeah, that's what's happening. Now, to give you kind of like a play. So, the beginning, the first babysitter, she's taking care of a little boy
and a little girl,
and
it doesn't really mention if anything happened to them.
No, it does not.
I'm gonna assume they just left them tied up and they didn't see anything.
Well, actually that's incorrect. Later on in the film, when you see the board in the sheriff's office, the only victim and the headline is the girl. And when they mention what happened, they say the death of the babysitter. So she's the only one that got killed. Now, which is crazy, because how would those children just sleep through that? Well, one was tied, the other one was sleeping. The daughter was tied up. Okay. You have the Summer H. Hall's character. She is taking care of these children, and they, just typical babysitter crap. And you're like, oh, okay, babysitter movie, she's taking care of the kids. Something's going to happen. We've seen it 1,000 times, right? This is the thing with this film. A lot of people either going to be like, oh, I've already seen this film so many times. But you're wrong.
Give it a second.
There's things that, yes, of course, obviously, it's just one of those things. This is always going to be, it could be fucking the year 3005. Some babysitters taking care of some kids and something creepy happens. That's always going to be a thing. That's never going to be not a thing. It's happened to almost everyone, here or there. So it's something you can relate to. It's a story you've heard. So in this scenario, you have the thing that kills me is she's doing her dance, whatever. She's hearing noises here and there, houses make noises, whatever. And then you have she thinks that the parents have come home because she hears the garage door open. Yep.
So she rushes out to look, and of course there's no one there with an open garage.
Now, why? This is what, if you're scared, and she was 13 years old. If you are scared, and a child yourself, it wasn't like she was 17, and they did mention her age in the film. She's 13 years old. Why in the hell would you go so further away from the house? I don't care if I'm trying to think of who Corey Feldman was at the fucking end of the driveway, like with an ice cream. Like, I'm not.
Well, it is the 80s. He would have been a good choice. Not so much now, but in the 80s, it would have been a good choice to have one of the Corys at the end of the driveway.
Corey Haim. Yes, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, anybody. I'm not going down to the end of the driveway, okay? Hell no. But man, she leaves. Not only does she leave the driveway, she goes down to the street. Behind her, the whole thing is open. And you're like, oh no, that's not good.
A small army just walked in there.
Yeah. So, of course, trying to distract her one way because they're trying to get into the house. Terrible things happen to her. And, terrible thing happens that she got killed. And then we fast forward and now it doesn't really state how further along. Well, 1 year, right?
It's at least a year. So now you have new characters that are being introduced. You have, right off the bat, they show the sheriff. He steps out of his house. There's just a blank brown box waiting for him at the I would think as a cop, as you see a blank box in front of your house, you call the bomb squad.
Yeah, you're calling the bomb squad. You're like, I don't know.
That seems like something I want to open, but yeah, he does, and he finds the garage door opener.
Yes.
Which is something that they did not find before. So it's like, oh, shit.
So he doesn't know for sure. He has a hunch. So he gets the deputy over there, and they go and they look, they ride up to the house, and he asks the deputy to use the garage door opener, and alas, it does open the garage door.
So then they know whoever sent this to him obviously was involved in the murder.
Yes.
And they start getting more clues with more things sent to them as, you know, they start kind of going on their scavenger hunt around town.
VHS tapes are being left of Night of the Reaper. And it's Night of the Reaper, the camping, Night of the Reaper,
the babysitter.
The babysitter, yeah.
You see this kind of stuff. And then we cut to Dina, who's walking down the street. She's coming back from college. She's been away, and she is, we won't know this right off, but she is the sister to the girl that got killed.
Spoiler alert, if you've seen enough movies, you knew right off. I knew literally.
As soon as she came in the house and there was a picture facing down that you didn't see, and she looked at it and kind of looked sad, then put it back up right, I was like, oh, that's her sister.
Yeah, well, the father was all jacked up, so I'm like, ugh. And then the conversation with the mom, they were little subtle hints here and there. They're like, I don't know. They were affected, so that might have been the sister.
And she talks to her boyfriend, or not boyfriend.
This guy that she kind of may have been, involved with the previous year.
They have a little conversation, amounts to like, are we good? Yeah, we're good. You think they're talking about their relationship. They are not talking
They are not.
They are not talking about their relationship. I also like that she goes and gets some coffee and goes and visits her friend that's going to be babysitting the sheriff's kid that night. And by the way, this girl is scandalous. She's like, I am babysitting his son so that I can be there for him because his wife has died and I want to be the sheriff's new wife. You're like, damn.
Yeah.
You are just trifling trying to move in there on this.
And she's like 18 years old. So it's just the scandalosities.
He's 18, 19. This guy, he's probably 35.
Yeah. With a kid.
With a kid.
But a widower. And she's already trying to move in.
She's already trying to move in. I'm like, all right, okay. Well, good luck with that. They're having coffee. And she makes the comment, oh, this coffee's very bitter. I'm going to put some sugar in it. Do you want any? And the girl's like, nah. I also noticed she did not drink her coffee. She seemed to just kind of be holding it.
She did not drink the coffee.
She was just holding hers. Which makes me think there might have been something in it.
It probably was. There definitely was.
There definitely was something in it.
There definitely was something in it.
So that's how our character Dina ends up babysitting the sheriff's son because her friend Hannah was supposed to be babysitting.
Mysteriously gets the shits.
She gets a terrible case of diarrhea. What was it she said? This is the worst shits I've ever had or something like that. She said something terrible and all this.
Lava diarrhea.
Yeah, lava diarrhea. And
some craziest thing.
And she can't do it. Well, you're like, okay, well, she's going to help out. And so she goes to take care of, but the sheriff's son already knows her. So it's okay. It's not like...
Yeah, this is a town of like, we're going to say there's like,
4,000 or 5,000 people. There's enough that there's like 5 or 6 cops, but that's about it,
It's a small town.
So she's going to go take care of him, and they have a good relationship. They're hanging out. They're watching scary movies, playing video games, chasing each other around, playing hide and seek with the walkie-talkies.
Yes, and the house is way too big, okay? And it's in the middle of nowhere. There's just a forest behind them. I'm like, no, and no.
That house is located right at Murder Central Woods.
Yeah, I'm like, no. I mean, the house was massive. It was just there was 3 people living in there before the mom died. That was still too big.
Yeah.
That was like she was going to have like freaking like 3 more kids, that woman, to have everyone in that house.
And then who knows how much property's around it because it's out there in the woods.
And it's not Florida, and there was a basement. So it's like you got like 2-3 floors of house, and then you got a basement.
Yeah.
And there was an attic. So there's just too many damn fucking floors.
Too many places to hide in that place.
But, what I found very interesting, in the first house and in the second house, there was always one door that was locked. There was always a locked door that, spoiler alert, mysteriously opens later on in the film. And both scenarios, in both things of the story, they mysteriously open. I have to think, like, when you're looking back now, if you watch the movie and you didn't catch any of this because it's very subtle. You don't think
No, we didn't.
I didn't think anything out of it, and we'll cover that. It's about the serial killer. We'll cover the serial killer's thing. Oh,
I'm talking about the sheriff does, like, he's out with his deputy, and they do meet one of the park rangers, who she's out there picking up a dog carcass, which that was one of the things that the girl in the first one, she came out of the house and she saw a dead dog out in the street. Then here's the park ranger picking up a dead dog in the street, and you're like, oh no, is this, this killer or whatever is killing the dogs and leaving them around town or whatever. I thought they were going to find something there, but you'll find out later that does play into it because... Yes,
it does. But that's so I was going to say, I was going to cover that part of the serial killer's MO because that's one of the things a serial killer does. When he goes and he speaks with the park ranger, he asks her...
Sheriff. You said the serial killer.
Well, yes. The sheriff goes to ask the park ranger about the guy that had found a kid that had found
he was on the tape,
suicidal accidental
death, that he fell while he was taking a leak and just bashed his head so hard he died.
Yeah,
but you see on the tape that's sent to the sheriff, he did not fall and bash his head got bashed in.
Yes, and he goes and he asks the park ranger because he thinks the dog thing is connected.
Yeah,
because there was also a dead dog in the girl's house. So he's connecting all the dots. He's trying to connect the dots, trying to do his job. And the dead dogs, and that part of the movie was, I did not like any of that part of the movie, the dead dogs. Even though obviously I know they're not real dead dogs, but the second one though, the third one, you do hear whimpering.
Yeah, so you weren't sure that she obviously, or whoever, that dog gets killed out there in the house that night.
And then I'm like, who just randomly just has random dogs out, just random dogs, they're collecting, the serial killers just collecting random dogs to use as a distraction. That's fucking devious. I mean, obviously you're a serial killer, so you're a bad person. But.
So Dina's there babysitting the kid. They're having a good time. Things are going on, but eventually, once the kid goes to sleep, that's when the creepy noises start. She starts noticing things outside. Like you said, you hear the whimpering dog. She goes out there. She also goes outside, leaves the door open and unlocked.
First of all, she sees the Reaper, okay? She sees the Reaper. She sees a shadowy figure out just, I don't even know how many steps away, but just on the property, too close. This is not there just happened to be someone walking down the street. There was no street, okay? You're in the fucking forest. It's like Hansel and Gretel's house is in the middle of nowhere. And then there's fog, and there's a little piece of freaking cement road narrow enough for a fucking car to drive down. And then you have this being...
out there dressed like the Grim Reaper, just standing in the woods chilling.
From her thing, she just sees it as all a black shadowy figure. She just doesn't see the white face. And she just sees this, and you're like, no, I don't care. Who is it? Avon is not calling at this time, so please get off the property. That's when I'm calling the police. But it makes sense why she doesn't call the police the 29 times.
She just goes out and...
She calls her friend, actually.
Yeah, it's like, hey, talk to me or whatever. And the friend is like, yeah, I'll talk to you. But, someone's at the door. That's when he got sus, someone's at the door?
That's weird.
And then the friend won't answer the call back when she keeps calling back.
Yeah, you're like, no, this is going to be a
Scream situation where there's two killers.
Yeah.
And, as it goes on, eventually out pops the killer from the house. And she realizes someone's in there.
While all that's happening back at the sheriff's station, because there's obviously dual characters and there are multiple characters and they're all...
You're following all the different lines here.
The cop is going all around town looking for these damn freaking tapes, and he's watching the tapes, and we're not going to get into the last tape that he watches, obviously that sends him over the edge, but he starts to watch all these tapes, and then he's like, oh wait, I know someone that just loves to videotape people all around town, and it's, we're going to call him Mr. Curly Hair. Mr. Curly Hair, we got to bring him in. So there he is with his JVC.
Which stands for Junk Video Corporation, by the way, because JVC made terrible cameras.
I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm pretty sure that was probably a vintage camera, so it didn't... It must have not been that terrible if it was. Well, obviously, we're assuming that it was still working. It was just probably.
He didn't have to work. Don't worry, it didn't work in the first place because it was JVC. But he's he kind of figures out, like, this guy's kind of sus, but we really don't have anything to hold him on, so they have to kind of let him go. But they do see in the video of the girl, that there's a van that they recognize the plate of. And they're like, oh, that's that plate for what's his name? Chad or whatever I think his name was.
His name was definitely Chad. His name was Chad. So, Chad...
Wait, was Chad curly-haired guy or was
No,
Chad...
Chad wasn't curly-hair guy. Chad was the football player guy, I'm pretty sure. And curly-hair guy is... I don't know what his name is. His name is curly-hair guy.
I'm looking. No, curly-haired guy was Chad.
Oh, was Chad.
Yes.
I stand corrected.
I had to make sure because I was like, wait, that didn't seem quite right. Willis was the other guy's name.
That was not the name that I would have thought that was that guy's name. I would have thought Devin, James.
And I had the name of her friend mixed up too. Her friend's name wasn't Hannah, it was Hattie.
Hattie.
The actress that played her's name was Savannah, and I kind of mixed everything in my mind there. But, so they go to talk to him, and that's where he finds a videotape that pushes him over the edge because...
Yeah, another videotape that he finds on the freaking guy's bed, okay? Also, when he goes into this apartment, which we're going to say this is between the years of like 1985 and 1987, that apartment was massive, okay? I'm like, man, I'm jealous. They probably paid like fucking $200 for that fucking apartment.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? It was like a mansion. It would just never end. And it's like, there's like red lighting on the table. Mind you, this is like two guys living together, right? So of course it's gonna be messy. There's Fangoria magazines on the table. There's a dog collar. At first I thought this
guy was kinky.
I thought he was the guy from InXS. And
wow.
Yeah, there was a belt on there was a random belt on top of the Fangoria magazines. I don't know what was going on. So that was pretty sus. And then there's a VHS tape on his bed. The kid comes in and he beats the shit out of him because he thinks that actually he hits him with the hilt of the gun.
Yeah, right in the face.
Yeah. Ooh, and there's a lot of blood. And yes or no, was Willis wearing the same shirt or very similar to what Johnny Depp is wearing in Nightmare on Elm Street? Because I'm pretty sure it was a white shirt with blue sleeves with like 84 on his chest.
That was it was his jacket.
Like a jersey.
He was wearing he's wearing a jacket.
He was wearing a jacket, but under the jacket.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, we'll have to go back because I'm very intrigued to see what he was wearing. So yeah, he gets hit the head. Now the thing is, he thinks it's two killers. He thinks they're in cahoots. He thinks the guy's videotaping what the guy's killing the people, and the other guy's videotaping.
So, and on the videotape when he watches it, it's a videotape of the car accident of his wife. Which you thought was an accident, and then you find out it was not.
Yeah.
And of course, that sets him over the edge, and he's about ready to shoot this kid in the face inside the interrogation room. And then we cut back to the house where Dina is finally, caught on that there's somebody dangerous in the house, and she needs to get the fuck out of there. We see her run downstairs and grab the phone and start calling 911. Then we see the Reaper coming downstairs, coming forward, and when he gets, this is the great part, it's when the Reaper gets into the kitchen, there is a tape recorder sitting on the table, playing her 911 call, just saying like, this is Dina, I'm at the sheriff's house, I'm calling 911, you're like, the fuck? And then Dina just pops out of nowhere with a taser and tases the Reaper. Because then you figure out this whole thing was a setup to lure this person in to come after them because, yes, it was her sister that was killed, and she set the whole thing up so that she would lure this person in to come after her.
Now, I don't think we should say who the person is.
Yeah. We won't spoil that part of it, but...
Now, what was your favorite part of the film?
That was my favorite part, was when you realized that she was setting everything up. Because then you just realize, like, oh, her friend who got sick and got the incredible shits, that was because she put something in the coffee to take her friend out.
Both coffees.
Yeah, I think she poisoned both of them just in case the friend got the wrong one. But yeah, you realize that, and like her, she's talking to the Willis guy, saying, "Are we good?" Yeah, they were good. It wasn't their relationship. They were good for tonight because he's helping her out with stuff, and it was just very clever the way that it all tied in, and the way you look back, you see all the little subtle things that happened. And
the one thing I don't want to say that it didn't mess me up for the movie or made me think anything out, but thinking back, when she takes a call from the friend and the friend is asking her to come babysit, there are two things that come into my mind. At that point, we don't know that Dina is related. It's not said out loud.
It's not said, yeah.
You maybe know as the audience, maybe you have an inkling, but it's not said yet. So I thought it was pretty fucked up for the friend who definitely knows that her sister got murdered while she was babysitting to ask her friend to babysit for her.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very insensitive. But right off the bat, the thing about Brandon and Ryan's writing is there's a lot of character development, and I love me some character development. So right off the bat, you know that Hattie is a bitch and she's just only gives a fuck about herself. She's not really a caring person, so she's not really thinking about this in the forefront of her mind. The main thing that she tells the girl, I can't lose this job because he's gonna find someone better and I need the money. So she's just thinking about herself. So that fine. The second thing is the Dina, she, not that it needed to be said, but I thought, oh, that's going to be like a conflict of interest to some degree, meaning like she's not going to want to take this fucking babysitting job because her sister got murdered. You know, if she is a sister, her sister got murdered. And how are the parents going to let her go to this babysitter job? Where did she tell her parents that she was going? Because the mom was very fragile. The dad was literally all fucked up, like to the point where he was like kind of like catatonic.
Yeah,
like,
he seemed kind of checked out, like he was just staring off into space watching TV.
So I doubt she was like, okay, bye mom, gonna go to a babysitting job. That would have been a hell no from the mom. That would have been like no. But she did say, my parents really wanted me to stay in.
Yeah.
She did say that. So I don't know what she told them.
She probably just told them she was going over to Hattie's or whatever and didn't bother to.
I guess because she did say, oh, it was so nice to hear from Hattie. She did say it was nice to hear from the girl.
Yeah.
But that was the one thing that I was like, oh man, okay. Not, like I said, very subtle. Nothing that ruined the movie or anything. It's just one of those things like you have that character development and you know what's going on with that character with her parents. So how could have the parents let her go, or what was said for her to be able to leave the house? And then the planning that out took. I thought it was going to turn out to be, because they made it a point, I feel like, a lot of the time. She was constantly talking about chemicals and, you know, what she did and what she learned in school when she was talking to her dad, and she was really into, you know, science and all that. I thought it was going to be like this house is so fucking large, it was going to be a Home Alone situation where she was making like vats of acid and like crazy bullshit to get this fucking killer. I thought we were going to go in that route.
Now, they went a different route, but I really like the way they went, because when you find out it's all a setup to lure this person in and try to take them out, it's really something I haven't seen before.
Now, for all the people that are writing negative comments on IMDb, everyone is allowed to have their, obviously, opinion. And that's fine. But, like, how could you not like the movie? I really enjoyed the twist. I like the twist. I didn't see it coming right off the bat. I didn't see it coming literally until the reveal. I had no... It really hit me. Like, it really took me... Whatever. There's different... The way the movie is set up, you're just along for the ride. Like, it's like, okay, now we're on a scavenger hunt. Now we're finding this. Like, you're trying to solve the case while it's happening. And, you know, all the acting was fantastic. You know, the cinematography was fantastic. Everything it looked, and it was just neatly packaged for you to have a great time watching this film.
This should have been a theatrical release, to be quite honest. I think this deserved to be in theaters. I think it would have done well.
I think he's getting better and better. Not that, I mean, there's always room for improvement, obviously. No one's going to be out here saying, oh, I'm the best filmmaker ever made. Like, you know, but from the first film that we saw, Z, till now, there's a lot of growth, and this one is very different for him.
Yeah, all the movies have been very different. I'll say that too.
Yeah, they haven't been like, oh, the same, you know, whatever. The stories have been very different. They're very interesting, and you know, it's not, even though there may be some things here and there that you have seen, and that's just like basic, like, okay, a babysitter, like a babysitter being murdered, you know, it's may or may not be around or on Halloween kind of thing. That's it. That's like, you know, it's never going to be like, oh, I've never seen anything. I think we're coming to the point now where it gets harder and harder to come up with like an OG idea. Like, you know, fresh.
But putting a twist on something older is a way to make it fresh, you know?
Exactly. I give it 3 knives.
I'm going 4 knives all the way on this one. I loved it.
Okay, well, I can't give 4 knives. You know what? I actually have to go. I wish I could go back into all of our podcasts to see what movie have I ever given a 4 knife. I don't know if I have. I think I'm pretty fair, and I'm, you know, like, okay. But yeah, a 4 knife is like, I don't even think that movie exists. I think it's just gonna be, for me, unattainable. 3 knives is gonna be like as good as it's gonna get. Next month we review, spoiler alert, Fright Night. I'm like, 4 knives. The OG, obviously, not the freaking remake.
I think that was understood.
Oh, but I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure there was people out there that are like, oh, that movie, no. With David Tennant. Okay. But, yeah, like, because, you know, these people in the industry, they're like, oh, I'm making this movie right here, but I'm also writing this other movie, or I'm also like directing on the side. Like, Monday through Thursday, I'm working on Night of the Reaper, but Friday through Sunday, I'm working on this other movie. He has another film coming out called Body Cam.
Yeah, coming out early next year, and that one looks interesting because as soon as they started doing that with the police body cams, I thought that was just going to be a way to come up with a really good found footage movie, and it looks like he did it. So that'll be interesting to see. I remember that one, we covered it. We liked this movie, the Necronomicon from like 98.
Yes.
Where they do the thing where like the 2 cops get involved in they find like the weird Lovecraftian thing going on in the warehouse. Like something, I don't know exactly what body cam is going to be about, but I always thought that would be a great thing. You know, the cops go into it, you're seeing it from their body cams. You can see it from multiple perspectives that way, and that'll be an interesting idea, and I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I am too. I think this is a great addition to a seasonal autumn film.
Yeah,
it's on my list of, oh, okay, it's the season, my favorite season. It's definitely a awesome ad, and if it was back in the day, I would have rented Night of the Reaper, which is a great name for a film. I would have rented Night of the Reaper, and it would have been on my stack of movies to watch.
On Halloween?
On Halloween, for sure. And I can't wait for someone, because I'm sure definitely, if they haven't already, someone is going to be coming out with a special edition version of this movie as a VHS tape.
They certainly should. And
that is when I will have to whip out with my card and cha-ching, buy that. Because it definitely needs to be purchased and added to the Z collection. No pun intended. But, all right, well, thank you so much for joining us, guys, in another episode of Jump Scare, the horror podcast. Stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.